Hi there, namaste, and welcome back to another Spiritualistik Pick a Card reading, and thank you so much for being here today. Today we're taking a look at divine guidance for your career path. So please take a deep breath, drawing the energy up your spine, creating a clear and open channel. And as you exhale, allow yourself to come into clear knowing which group or groups has your message in it for you today. We have group number 1 on the left with Source Energy, group number 2 in the center with Ascended Master, and group number 3 on the right with Forged in Fire. As always, my loves, the timestamps to your readings are listed below in the description box. You'll also be able to find there all of my personal information. I am currently offering one-on-ones, so if you would like a personalized channeling session, tarot or astrology reading, astrocartography, or Reiki session, you can find all of those on my Etsy store at Spiritualistik. You can also find them on my website at spiritualistik.com. You can also find things there like a blog if you want to learn for free, read a little bit of stuff. I love to write, so it's just something that I do as a passion project out in the world. You can also meditate with me over there. You can also find, of course, the link to my shop if you're interested in any of my decks, books, journals, candles, merchandise, etc. So you can find all of that there. With that being said, if you're interested in exclusive content with me or connecting with me more personally, you can find the link to my Inner Circle channel here on YouTube down there. You can also find the link to my Patreon, where you will have access to even more exclusive content. And you'll also find the link to my TikTok, where I post regularly several times a week. I also have a subscriber page on TikTok for even more exclusive content. That's also where I'm building a little bit of a community at this point in time. So if you would like to join my subscription page over on TikTok, you'll have access to free mini readings from me, guided meditations. We sit in live and have a nice little community chat and go over whatever needs to be gone over, whether it's readings, meditations, talking about life, music recommendations, all of that fun stuff. So that's also where you will have the first insider view of what it is that I have going on. So if you want to stay in touch with my projects or things I'm working on, shout out perhaps recommendations for topics that you want to see me post, that will be exactly where to find it. And of course, if you want to follow me on Instagram, you can find me there as well. All of my platforms I'm at Spiritualistik. All of my links are below in the description box. And a lot of you have also asked if there is an Amazon wish list or a PO box. A lot of you like to send me little things, and it's the nicest thing in the whole entire world. Write me little letters. Always open to pen pals. And so all of that is linked down there, as well as my email. So if you want to get in touch, contact, collab, send me stuff, support my business, whatever it is that you want to do, I'm here for it. So all of that's in the description box below. As always, I love you and I'm grateful for you, and I'll see you over at your reading. Namaste. Hi there, group 1. Namaste and welcome to your reading. Today we're taking a look at divine guidance for your career, and you selected the first group with the Source Energy card. Group number 1, there is a lot of divine guidance and intervention that is supporting your career at this point in time. I know that you know this. Also, you might have a few little pieces to the puzzle that might not connect where you expected them to, but they do connect to other things. I'm being shown if you have, let's say, an outlet with an extension cord in it, just for simplicity's sake, and you receive like a plug. Now this plug, let's say it has the grounding unit, so it's got the 3 prongs, but you don't have space for the 3 prongs where you intended to plug in your device, but you do have space for the 3 prongs elsewhere. This is the example Spirit is showing me. There is something here that you expected to go in one place or one area, and because of its maybe configuration, its size, its shape, its time or energy commitment, even financial commitment for some of you, actually it belongs elsewhere. Now, it's not to say to displace it. It is simply saying that maybe you forgot that you had an extension cord that was open, full of other opportunities. Maybe you have a binder filled with creative projects and ideas. Maybe you have a lot of emails that you haven't gone through yet. Maybe you have a lot of supplies or resources in a particular area, a lot of fellow like-minded individuals, a lot of supplies, a lot of inspiration, a lot of drafts in one particular area of life. And as you can tell, the divine guidance here is actually to move towards that a little bit, to open up your horizon and try the best that you can to expand your bandwidth towards those other areas. Now, I know it's easier said than done to just, hey, expand your bandwidth, maybe take on a little bit more, right? Sometimes we're already fighting off burnout. Sometimes we feel divinely guided and we only have so much energy. Sometimes we get really excited, we put the pedal to the metal, and we forget that, well, we don't want to have 100% on our plate 100% of the time because it's not sustainable. Sometimes we forget that we ebb and flow with, say, the moon, or say with life, right? And so we're going to get more details for the divine guidance for your career path here. But the first thing that's coming in is that source, the universe, divine energy. It is lighting up a few different areas of your life. Think of this like a highlighter. Say that you have everything in your life, and where divine is putting this energy, think of it as being highlighted. For example, that extension cord analogy that was used earlier. What is being highlighted for you right now? Now, it might not be exactly what you thought. It might be frustrating. Well, I'll need to reorganize all of these other outlets, and I already organized all of my plugs in order to put something over here, because it doesn't go there. It's not supposed to be complicated. It's not supposed to be difficult. It's not supposed to be asking you to reorganize anything that you already have going on. It is asking you to place it, like I'm hearing that Beyonce song, to the left, right? Irreplaceable. You are being asked to simply shift your, I guess, perspective a little bit. Look where you were not planning to look. So with that, let's take a look at the cards and see more divine guidance for your career path. So we're going to take a look here. We started with the Follow Your Heart Oracle. Now we're moving into the Mini Oracle. And I felt called to use this with the Merkaba on it and the Northern Lights specifically, because there's something here about the energy specifically that's important. The energy, where you are in this place, in your place in life right now. Perhaps the energy you have to offer, energy work that you do, perhaps energy that you read. I know a lot of you are readers, channelers, energy healers, or just lovers of life, helpers of people. That does not, of course, need to be the case. This is open for everybody, of course. But group number 1, your divine guidance for your career at this point in time, it is to move forward with areas that might have not been growing for a while. And I'm getting, this is something that you put a pause in. I'm hearing that phrase, put a pin in it. So there's something that you put a pin in, but you had full intention of making it back around. Well, it's time now. And you can see I'm holding this deck upright and these are falling out in reverse. So this lets me know that there's no more organization that needs to be done. If you put a pin in something, it means that it was when you were ready to fully move it forward. This is something like sitting down and writing that book. And you might say, well, I've got all these pieces. I should really go through and organize all of my drafts, all of the information, all of the sticky notes, all of the papers, however it is that you have your process. And of course, the book can be an analogy too. This is something where you've already finished organizing it. You already have your rough draft. The only thing that is left for you to do is sit down and write it. And I'm not saying that because it's easy or not very energetically and time consuming to do so. This is something where, let's just say, you couldn't prepare any further for it than you already have. So there's no more organization to be done. You were called to put a pin in something. And so now you're being encouraged to see how and where you can expand your bandwidth, but take an energetic approach with the Infinity card here. And aligned timing. It is now time, as you are picking up in your intuition, for you to move forward. There were, as you know, unseen factors that needed to get integrated into your life, into your space, into your energy, before something could move forward. You have become the version of you that is ready to create this. You have become the version of you that is ready to move forward with the project, with the promotion, with the business, with the plan, whatever it is. And not only have you grown into this version of you, you're also the version of you who can sustain it, maintain it, grow it, evolve it, and any nuances that come into your life, right? We talked about that 100%. If you put 100% of your bandwidth towards something, then you don't have extra for, say, life happens, good or bad or weird or fun or unexpected or anything. Now, you have learned how to navigate that nuance. And you're being encouraged to try your best in whatever ways work for you to expand your bandwidth. Trust that there's no more planning or preparing that needs to be done. And you already have learned how to manage any unseen factors that can or will pop up over time. There is this energy of a disruption that's coming through. This might be something like, well, since this is your career, let's say that you have a family issue that comes up. Maybe you enter a new relationship. Maybe you need to help with a friend of yours, or there's a health issue, or maybe your energy levels dip, right? It can be something like you experience a sad period of your life, or it's winter, and so naturally we have less energy, less daylight, anything. We see here that whatever kind of, let's say, divine intervention that came through as an interference, that was intentional to help you learn how to navigate, process, deal with, and set boundaries around whatever this is. Now you can take on more, but you might also, for example, be a little bit hesitant about it unless you are feeling fully motivated towards it. For example, you might feel really motivated one day. I'm going to sit down and write my book, and then I'm going to show up and I'm going to do it every single day. Well, you might feel that way for 2 days, 3 days, and then you get exhausted. Then you get tired. Then life happens, right? So you're being encouraged to, in the ways that you can, trust that there's no more organization that needs to be done. Work on expanding your bandwidth still, and allowing yourself to have the same amount that is on your plate that currently is. So let's say that if we're looking at things in units, say that you have 4 units of energy, and you only want to have 3 units of things on your plate for you, for life, etc. Now, when you expand your bandwidth to 8 units, now you have a lot more bandwidth, but still, you really only want to expand what is on your plate to 6 units. So you still want to have that same ratio, that same amount of space for you. However, you've expanded your bandwidth, you've also expanded your responsibilities, but you're also going to notice that yes, you've grown into this, but your guidance here is to trust that you can navigate unseen factors. You can navigate more, you can navigate the nuance, and also to take a look at where Spirit has been highlighting those little things. Hey, instead of organizing everything on the right, what if you look to the left and utilize that? So there is something that is simpler, but it is leading you into a different direction. But that is a direction that you already intended to go. So that is Spirit showing you something. So let's take a look at the tarot and let's get a little bit more specific advice for you. Let's see divine guidance for your career path for group number 1. We're using the graphic tarot here. We've got Judgment in reverse. Okay. I was holding the deck upside down, which lets me know I'll flip this upright. So now it is time. That's letting me know it's time now to pull out that draft, to print out those pages, to roll out that project, to premiere that movie, that channel, whatever it is. 10 of Cups, and to follow your happiness through it. Okay, so this is also a message, the 9 of Pentacles, to remember that when you put a pin in something, when you have the inspiration and you want to move towards your goals with this, in your career, you're being encouraged to keep that same mindset. When you are really motivated to do something, when you really love doing something, you're being encouraged to do it for you. Now, this might look like working out because you love your body, not because you dislike your body. So you're being called to take the similar approach to your career. You are showing up and moving forward with these things because you love yourself and because you love what you do. Not because you have to, not because you need to take on more, not because you have to do this for yourself or else, right? It's coming from a positive place. So that's really being highlighted here. And there's also an energy here of releasing the fact that you need to prepare anymore. Okay, there is something here where you are aware that it took you so long to get to where you are today. This next chapter for your career, it's going to be something that takes a look at your confidence and your self-esteem, and it will be something that does actually propel it forward because you'll notice that, well, when you trust yourself more, you'll realize how much more trustworthy you are than you initially thought that you were. Yes, you can handle all of that and still have extra space. Yes, you can take on all of that. Yes, you can. You are capable. So that's coming through. More divine guidance for you is to trust in this process because something will happen and manifest a little bit more easily than you're expecting it to. Now, you might have had a few doors closed, but this wasn't a factor of timing, not a factor of whether or not you should be doing what this is. This was Spirit and or you putting a pin in something. And now Spirit is taking the pin out all on its own, seeing what it is that you choose to do. Now, because there was some sort of divine intervention, put a pin in whatever this is, you might think, okay, well, the pin is out. Now I know, don't touch it. We don't go over there. That's what I have been trained to do. That is what I have learned. However, the pin is gone. This is your message from Spirit coming through the channel here to let you know that is a sign that the pin does not need to be there anymore, not because you are still called to avoid that, but rather because it is time for you to move forward with it. Now, any barrier or boundary or timeline has now been removed. So your guidance here, it is going to be, well, to take a look at old things, and you're going to notice that you've already come further than you expected. You already have more of that book written than you thought that you did. You already have more resources, more tools, more outline than you already thought that you did. This is going to be something where you've already put down, say, the instructions for yourself. You just have to sit down and follow them. Now, of course, expanding your bandwidth is really the main challenge here, more so than moving forward with whatever this is. And so, Spirit wants to let you know that your divine guidance here, it is to trust that Source is now energizing this area of life. It is being highlighted for a reason. And as it is, it does not wish for you to overlook what is being given to you as a blessing. There's a change of perspective here that it's going to bring about you and about your place in this world. And you're going to realize that it's a lot more similar to what you originally thought that it was than you're currently thinking. And that's going to be something really beautiful for you as you notice later down the line that you end up kind of exactly where you thought you were going to end up. However, the journey to get there looked differently than you thought that it would. Because you've been on that journey, you released the outcome that you initially had, and that is also exactly what got you there. So you're being encouraged to open up once more. Acknowledge what Spirit is highlighting. Try to look at the things that are coming into your life and take the path of least resistance here. Not saying to take the easy way out or to cut corners, but to say that instead of rearranging all of your outlets in one corner, use the outlet in the other corner that has the space, right? Simply shift your perspective a little bit. Change your focus just a little bit. It is okay to expand your bandwidth and allow other things in your line of sight. This is letting me know you've had tunnel vision towards one or a few things for a while. And your divine guidance is to kind of ease up on that tunnel vision a little bit because now it is time. You are secure. There is mystical, magical, spiritual energy that is highlighting you and helping you to push forward right now. Take the signs as the sign that they are and trust in yourself and your confidence and your ability to move forward with these things. Spirit also wants to give you the reminder that remember that it is you doing these things that is what's going to make them successful. So it is not only this project, this idea, this business, this position, this whatever it is. It is the fact that you are doing it. It is your unique blueprint and energy and expression that is in combination with this. That is what is going to make it abundant. So this is not something that anybody else can pick up and result in the same thing. This is something that when you pick it up, Spirit charges it. This is something that when you manifest it, it becomes successful for you. And so Spirit is trying to lead the way for you by opening up doors. As Spirit opens up doors, it might look a little bit different than where you have been focusing your attention. And that is intentional. Do follow it. Do not take your attention off of what it is that you've been focusing on, but do expand your horizon. Do ease up on that focus and attention a little bit, not because you're not meant to draw awareness towards what it is that you're doing, but because you're meant to expand your bandwidth. You're going to have space for more in your life, and more will be coming into your life. You are holding space. It is a beautiful, magical, wonderful thing. And there's going to be a little bit of an adjustment period. So allow yourself to do what you can to manage yourself and your happiness and your self-fulfillment and honoring yourself first and foremost. Move forward without pressuring yourself about the time. You have the Page of Pentacles and the Four of Cups that are right underneath the Infinity card. And this is letting me know, group number one, that your divine guidance here pertaining to your career in this way is to work on this, to approach this, to express or expand this as though you had forever to do it, as though there was no timeline, as if there's no rush, there's no due date. Show up and work on it. Allow it to be a little miraculous energy in your life. With the Four of Cups here, it highlights that there's something special, something that is beautiful. This is like saving your dessert for after dinner. You eat your nutrients. You take your proverbial medicine, right? Now you get to eat the dessert. Now Spirit is showing you it is time for you to focus on this thing that it was very special. It's special to you, it's special to the universe, and you, in conjunction with this energy, it is special to the universe and inherently abundant. Now it is time. Focus on your well-being first and foremost, more so than anything else in your life. And you will find that this helps manifest this more successfully, more healthily for you and through you, and also faster as well. Your advice is to approach whatever this is as though you had forever to manifest it, as though it didn't matter. And that is going to be an effort here that shows you why now rather than before. Because now you're being called not to rush something. Because Spirit put a pin in it, it energetically aligned it with the fact that you take your sweet, sweet time. And you are here for this project, you are here for this job, you are here for this energy, the same way that it is there for you. And that timing is so much not a factor of it. And that might not be the case for the other areas of your life that you've been called to focus on. However, that energy is now beginning to manifest in those areas of life. So you're going to notice that the timeline is less important for you now than it was before in all areas across your career. And your guidance here is to trust that, of course, as you know, you are where you're meant to be. You're also in this unique place of emotional, personal self-fulfillment or working towards it. Right now, where you are is exactly where you're meant to be. And to put yourself first, continue honoring yourself, invest in yourself, mind, body, spirit, and in this area of your career. Allow yourself to move forward slowly. I'm hearing slow and steady wins the race. And also, if you want to save something for later, or compile it, or take your time to make sure that you are exactly okay with exactly the way that everything turns out, that is actually in your highest interest. So, if you love Saturdays, and you only want to work on this on Saturdays, if this is an area of your career where you feel the best when you show up at work wearing those shoes, whatever those pair of shoes are, you can associate those shoes with that project. You can associate a little sweet treat with working on that business. You can make a few videos for, say, YouTube or TikTok. Make them exactly how you want them to be. Take your time making them the way that you want them to be, rather than making sure that they show up on time. And then when you have enough of them, enough being whatever feels good to you, not what your brain thinks is right, then start rolling them out at the consistency with which you naturally, organically create them without the timeline being there as a pressuring factor. And you might find that you end up being more efficient and more productive than you would have in the first place. The last message here from Spirit pertaining to your career is that whatever this is that you're being encouraged to expand your framework towards, however your bandwidth is expanding, however your vision is opening up, this is going to change your life. There is something here about the timing being now. It was always going to be now. And there's also a message here that a cycle has been broken. This isn't a cycle of anything bad. It's not a cycle like it's karmic and it's bad and you need to break it. This is simply showing you that a pattern has come back around now. It's not a pattern of you. It's a pattern of situation that you walk through. It's a pattern of energy that you walk through and you navigate in different ways that shows you your growth and evolution. In fact, this is a pattern that shows you your success. There's something here about success and then takeoff. This can be something where you say that you complete a job, and after you work for a while, you go travel. Say that you focus on a particular project, and then you end up studying abroad. Say that you get a different job, and you work for a very long time, and you end up taking off. Maybe you move towns. This energetic pattern is here to show you what it is that you are stepping into at this point in time, with whatever this is in your career. Your divine guidance is to acknowledge this and accept it the way that it is, because it is written for you. And it is also manifested by you. because you've been working, I'm hearing, in cahoots with the universe. This is showing you that you step into this, and when you feel that it is completed or when it naturally comes to a close, then your life will take off. All of those things, they were showing you in both a little bit more theoretically and a little bit more literally than you would have initially thought. So, this is going to change your life in an unexpected way, but it won't be unexpected if you look at the pattern. This was not a cycle to break. This was a pattern that was inevitable and written for you, and it's very positive. And it's showing you that now it's the time that, let's say that this pattern equates to a prophecy. This is the time that that prophecy is fulfilled. You walked through it in small little ways. Now it's time to expand and grow and explode. So, the Hanged Man does speak about sometimes suspension in time. Aligned timing speaks about, of course, let's say divine timing. Now, with those two factors considered, this is saying that the message here is to take your time with whatever this is, but also trust that the timing is now. The timing has always been now. So, focus on the present moment as much as you can, but really highlight that self-care and putting one foot in front of the other. A little more so than having that future vision. That is what got you to here. It's also what it's time to release for this point of your journey. So, group number 1, that is your divine guidance for your career path. I hope this helps shed love, light, and clarity for you. And as always, I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, week, month, year, and incarnation in this beautiful magical realm. If you would like a more personalized reading or a little bit more clarity about this, I do have one-on-ones that are currently open. You can find them in the description box below. You can find them on spiritualistik.com. They're also up on Etsy at Spiritualistik. You can find my whole store over there. I love you. I'm grateful for you. If you would like more exclusive content, feel free to join my Inner Circle channel or my Patreon. You can also find exclusive content on my TikTok. So, with all that being said, I love you and I'm grateful for you, and I'll see you next time. Namaste. Hi there, Group 2. Namaste and welcome to your reading. Today, I'm channeling divine guidance for your career path, and you selected the second group with the Ascended Master card. Group number 2, the first thing that's coming through here is that you are a master of something. And it's time for you to share this mastery. When it comes to your career path, the first thing that I'm really picking up on here is that you have received so much knowledge, wisdom, information, mastery, and you also give so much into the world. However, it is time that these two things become a little bit more intertwined than they have been previously. Meaning that you have been giving as much as you possibly can. You've been giving with your mastery. However, you might not have been giving your mastery. Or those of you who have been working on trying to do this or figure this out when it comes to sharing that mastery, like passing it down, kind of creating the new line of teachers or masters in a particular area. What this is really speaking about here is the fact that it is time for you to, let's say, pass on the torch. It is now time for you to pass down some sort of mastery. So not pass down information due to your mastery, but pass down mastery in and of itself. So this might look like you teaching. This might look like you helping other people become masters rather than helping other people get their foot in the door. Rather than helping other people, I'm being shown a tutoring situation. So rather than tutoring people, rather than helping people study for their tests, rather than using your mastery to help, you are now helping others become masters. Or this is what the divine guidance is for you here. So it seems as though you have received a lot of communication from others or from your spirit team or both pertaining to the fact that this would be a wonderful way for you to give back. And it would be exactly something that there's high demand for you pertaining to your career. Now let's take a look at the divine guidance here. We're going to take a look at the mini oracle first. And let's see for group number 2. What is the divine guidance for group 2's career path? Divine guidance for group number 2's career path. We have innocence. Okay. So there's something about innocence, purity. And this doesn't just need to be like innocence like Pisces, right? It doesn't just need to be childlike, for example, but the energization. It can also be pure, like purifying the heart, purifying the chakras, purifying a well of knowledge that has been passed down or misrepresented. Something like this. Something about innocence. Now, with the master, an ascended master is inherently innocent. And this doesn't mean they haven't walked through life. It doesn't mean they haven't met the light and the shadow and beyond it and within it, all of those things. It means that rather they have, and they've used it to transcend and transmute themselves. We also be optimistic here. So there's a little bit of this confidence boost that's coming from Spirit, reminding you of your mastery. This is something that it seems that you have mastered perhaps in several different lifetimes. And so for you in this lifetime, maybe it's a piece of cake. It can also be something that you've mastered several times in this lifetime in several different ways. For example, say that you are a master of languages. Maybe you are a polyglot. Maybe you study linguistics. Instead of speaking to others in Spanish and English and French and Italian, rather than this, and rather than becoming a teacher of one of these languages, you would teach people how to learn languages, period. It can also be something along the lines of you teach other polyglots how to teach other polyglots. It's kind of giving this. Now, there's something here about your mastery with the ascending card coming out over the innocence and the energization. Yes, so you have this really, really high vibrational, really, really high frequency energy that it's of the ascended master energy. So this is the top of the top. You have the maximum amount of mastery, the maximum amount of information, the maximum amount of skill, expertise, accuracy, precision in whatever your field is for your career. You are now being called to ground that. Now, a lot of you are here saying, well, I have been, or I've been trying, I've been following my intuition, I've been doing exactly what my intuition's been leading me to, and I've been using this mastery in order to excel in my career. I've been utilizing this energy in my career, etc. And this is exactly what Spirit wants to give you the divine guidance on about today, because this is about the path of your career. You have been on your path. You have been utilizing your mastery. Now it's time to pass along mastery. I'm being shown a lineage, like an ancestral lineage, a lineage of teachers, a Reiki lineage, a lineage of gurus, a lineage of something like this. And when it is time for one to pass down the throne, for example, when it is time for somebody to retire their position, they are almost given a higher level position, but it's less active in the community. And so what it is that you are doing here in some way, shape, or form is for your career, you're being encouraged to interact with the community in a different way. You are no longer the let's say the field worker, you're no longer the front lines. You are now the one that the ones that are leading those people learn from. You are the one that is behind the scenes. You're the one that they go to in case of an emergency. You're the one that they go to when they can't afford to have a mistake. You're the one that they go to when they need something higher than the highest level that's available. And so we're going to pull some guidance for you here with the tarot. Let's see, what is the divine guidance here for group number 2's career path? What is the divine guidance for group number 2's career path? Let's see. So this is definitely showing up as an energy that reflects that this is general guidance, which means that for you, if you are the absolute foremost master of something here, it can give you the advice that you need. However, you're also going to notice that this is going to present almost in a sense of this, me giving you this guidance translated through me as you are the one who's a master of your career. Now, this doesn't mean that we're not giving you divine guidance. That is just a message that's coming through. Okay. So whatever I'm a master of, I am the master of. Whatever you are the master of, you are the master of. So I'm giving you this guidance. That is what I'm a master of. But remember that whatever this is, if you are certified in psychiatry, okay, I am not. Okay. So I'm giving you guidance for the path here. That message wants to come through. Okay. So there is this energy, strength of the Page of Wands. Your guidance is to really kind of state your case a little bit more. It is to really bring back that childlike innocence of you that started walking down this path. And in an essence, find where the problem is or was for you committing yourself to this path, not in learning it, not why you stepped onto it necessarily, but what were the problems that you had while you were becoming a master, and why. And this is exactly what you're being called to devote yourself to, stick with, write down the system or process, replicate it, etc. So, specifically here, it seems as though when it comes to relating to other people with this, it's something that seems like you cannot. You cannot relate to other people with the mastery that you have here, and that is also why it's important that it comes from you. That's also why it's important that you remember this purity and this innocence that comes behind it, because as you are creating and grounding this energy, whatever this is, for some of you this might be becoming a teacher, it might be starting a form of education, it might be taking someone under your wing, it might be becoming a mentor, whatever it is, training somebody new in your field. There is this reminder here that when you move forward, the process of this is creating a new position for you that doesn't currently exist. You are creating a new path. So the divine guidance here is to create your own path. And it is to remember that because you are not relatable to what currently exists, that means that it is your prerogative to sit in a new position that doesn't currently exist. The level of mastery that you are in, you are already at the top, which means that in order for something to be greater than this, it needs to be created. Now, what is your individual guidance? It is to keep your heart open and honest. It is also bringing about the sense of simultaneously confidence and humbleness at the same time. Because as you step into a position that has not been existent before, and it is more exalted than the positions around you that are even possible because you're already at the top. Because of this, it's going to require a level of humbleness to get there, and also confidence. Why? Because you are going to be in a brand new position, and once it is realized that this position exists, not only does it have a specific requirement in order to qualify for it, it will also become highly sought after. So, your divine guidance is to have that strength, that tenacity, that confidence, and that courage in order to move forward with humbleness, childlike wonder, innocence, and that love and that purity that you have and you hold. Because this is not something where you are replicating what else is out there. This is not something where you are creating something that already exists. This is not something where you're sharing information that others can readily get. Otherwise, you wouldn't be in the position that you were already in. However, utilizing this information, utilizing your wisdom, utilizing your expertise, you've been utilizing it in order to help other people. Now, you are in a different position. And so your guidance, it's to realize where others are getting stuck because you see it. It is to recognize what it is that you understand that others don't. This is where the humbleness comes in and the confidence. Your divine guidance is to commit yourself to pulling back the veil where there are shadows that you see others fall into, where there are things that you see others don't understand. What it is that you embody and exude genuinely that allow for you to be at this point in your path, specifically only you group 2. That is what your guidance is. It is to find those shadows that others get lost in, don't even know exist, have no idea that they're messing up through, things like that. And this is not about you being better than them being better than you. It's not that at all. However, you are already the number one master of something, probably in the world. There are definitely less people listening to this pile than the other ones. Because you are. Well, you've been there for a while. And this is something where someone can't walk into your house and take that trophy off of your shelf and pretend that it's theirs. They didn't earn it. This is not something where someone can walk into the castle and take the throne and take the crown and the throne and put it on their own head and sit in the chair, because it doesn't work that way. This is something where you leave what is known, or you step away from the commonly accepted top position that others already see and know that you have. Whatever throne could be undermined. For the reason being, you have the mastery to get there and have stayed there for a long time. You are now showing other people something along the lines of how to navigate this throne. Something that those who look up at the throne, they will never be able to understand. It can only be passed down by you. There will be things that are unseen. There will be things that are misunderstood. There will be things that are consciously misinformed. And there will be things that are beautiful not to overlook. And so when it comes to your career, your path, your career path, this is more about the path and less about the career itself. Your divine guidance, that's going to be to be open to something new that doesn't exist, which means you're pulling directly from the unmanifested, which means this is going to be something that you end up channeling. You figure it out as you go. This is not likely going to be something that you visualize 100% accurately and then work your way there, because this is something you haven't seen before, because no one's seen it before. You can create it. You can visualize what it is that you're creating. But this is something along the lines of, let's say, inventing a new color. You can visualize maybe sort of kind of what it will be most likely. You can visualize where on the color wheel it might land. You might even be able to conceptualize the different amounts of paint of different colors and where it might fall on the light spectrum. But not until it is manifest will you truly be able to see it, embody it, thrive in it. And so your guidance here is to have trust in yourself, enjoy the process, to both humble yourself as you step off this throne and into something higher, and the confidence to step off that throne and know that you're going into something higher. It is simultaneously to remember that purity and that innocence of your connection to this. It is raw. It is yours. It is genuine. It is pure. It is not for any sake of the ego. It is not for any particular exalted space. And it is also not to reject that exalted space. It is simply something that is meant for you. And there's an acceptance of this that is here as well. This isn't, well, I didn't ask for this and it's a burden. And it's also not, well, I want it, so I'm going to go get it. It is something that is so perfectly you that, of course, this is the natural next step. It just happens. It's like if a certain color looks good on you. It's not bad if you wear it. It's not bad if you know it. It's not bad if others acknowledge it. But it doesn't change the fact. It simply is. And it doesn't make it anyone else's, good or bad. It doesn't make it your good or bad. It simply is. And with this, we do have a lot of abundance that's here. We've got an 8, but they're coming from the major arcana. We also have the strength here, which is also symbolized by the number 8 in some tarot forms. And here, we have this acknowledgement as well that the thing that was never kept from the world, the thing that was never hidden about your career path, about whatever it is that you are the leading master of, it might be all of the nuances of the mastery of whatever this craft is, whatever this expertise is, whatever this career is, all of those things that are unhidden. But the thing that's not hidden, it's you. It's who you are. It's the humanity of you, the beauty of you inside and out. And so leading with that, leading with your character, is exactly what is going to help progress this and move this forward. And so while this is something that manifests through you, you're being encouraged to be transparent, not about what it is that you're doing, like not in a way where you're telling everyone what you're doing and how you are leaving your particular position in order to get to a new one that doesn't exist yet, because that creates a new sense of rush, a new sense of false information, a new sense of exactly what it is that the shadow is that you see through. Rather, be transparent about yourself and who you are and your character in the making, in the creating, in the becoming of what this is. And so simply to ground this a little bit, your divine guidance, it's to be yourself and allow it to have an aesthetic aspect, whatever that means to you. Let it look good, let it feel good, let it be pretty, let it be intuitively led. Remember, you are the number one expert in something, probably on the planet, or in your community, or in your town, whatever it is. And because of that, you don't need to go around showing everyone, proving everyone. There's no sense of that, which is where the humbleness comes from. Because you don't need to protect something that is obvious and it doesn't matter because it's normal to you. It's like if you have a feature that others find very beautiful, but you don't know that others find it beautiful, not because they don't, appreciate it, but because to you, it's the same thing that you've had your whole life. It's just your eyes. You have nice eyes. Okay, other people have nice eyes too, but, that doesn't mean that other people get yours. And it doesn't mean that yours are, you know what I mean? It's just something that's normal to you. It's just something that is yours. It's your birthright, literally. And that is how this mastery comes through. So with this, the way that you see through your eyes, the aesthetic, the way that it feels, because you know what it's like to be in that position and nobody else does. That is exactly what makes you the perfect person to make the rule book, the guidebook, okay, so you've made it to the top. Now where do you go from here? Because there's nobody to answer those questions. And it's also kind of giving the energy of devoting yourself to the path, to the way, and also knowing as well that the throne belongs to the one who wears the crown. But there are so many more aspects to that than somebody deciding to walk in and saying that they want it, give me. It is not something that can be replicated, and it's also not something that can really be taught. Unless, of course, you have been in that position for long enough to have seen everything. And so, you are sharing this sight, and your divine guidance is to move forward with this. Let it be unseen, unknown, intuitively led, and be honest about your character. That is an important factor here. Why? Because you are the master, and the master is innocent. Because the greatest teacher is also the student. Because the greatest teacher is a student. Because the greatest leader is someone who knows how to follow. Because the person with the most self-confidence will be someone who knows how to humble themselves. Because the one on the throne, who is the best at being on the throne, knows what it's like to be a subject to that throne as well. It's relatable, but it's not replicable. And that is what you are being guided towards. So group number 2, this is your divine guidance for your career path. I hope this helps shed love, light, and clarity. And as always, I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, week, month, year, and incarnation in this beautiful magical realm. If you would like a more detailed and personalized reading, I do offer one-on-ones, so you can find that in the description box below, as well as all of my decks. I've got a spiritual store on Etsy. I also have a website, so you can check those out over there. I've got candles, crystals, tarot and oracle decks, journals, prompted and unprompted. I've got merch, all kinds of fun spiritual stuff on there, so don't forget to follow along, like, comment, subscribe on this video, share if you don't mind. You can find me here on my Inner Circle channel as well. You can join that. My Patreon at Spiritualistik. TikTok, you can find a public and a private page on there where you'll be able to have exclusive content as well as public content, and I am going live over there as well, so it's been very fun. You can also stay up to date with all of my current projects by following me along on TikTok and Instagram, also at Spiritualistik. And if you'd like to email me, send me a gift, write me a little love letter, You can find my information for that below too, because I've been getting a lot of requests and I absolutely love it when you write me letters and little things. It means the world to me. So with that being said, I love you. I'm grateful for you. Feel free to check out another pile if you feel called, or another reading, of course. And I'll see you next time. Namaste. Hi there, Group 3. Namaste and welcome to your reading. Today I'm channeling divine guidance for your career, and you selected the third group with the Forged in Fire card. Group number 3, the first thing that I'm getting for you is to allow yourself to find stillness and calm in the midst of all of the chaos, the moving pieces, the inspiration, the unfinished projects, the to-do lists, the clients, the customers, right? So this is the first thing that's moving forward. I'm also being shown somebody pulling a freshly made sword out of a pool of hot fire. So this stillness and this peace that you're being encouraged to connect with, whether it's momentarily before you begin certain tasks, whether it is to start or end your day, or whether it's something like counting to 10 before speaking when dealing with a difficult client or a big project, doing a big task. However this manifests for you, it is simply finding those moments. But it is this peace and the stillness that allows for that, well, sturdy hand to pull the perfect sword out of the fire. I'm being shown something that has been perfectly curated, perfectly created. However, just because the creation process is complete doesn't mean that whatever this is doesn't need time to set. So the energy that I'm picking up on here, now it's not going to be relevant for every manifestation and every job on the whole planet, but this energy that you're in right now, Spirit wants to make it abundantly clear. This is similar to pulling a cake out of the oven or removing a sword from a fire, meaning that there's something here that needs time to set. It needs time to breathe. And while it breathes, while this sets, you also are being encouraged to do the same. You have also been created anew. You have also been reborn. So allow yourself time to set. Allow yourself time to cool. Allow yourself time to find inner peace. This will be extraordinarily helpful for the next chapter of your career, as this next chapter is a big one. Whether there are several moving pieces, whether there is new information coming to light, whether you are doing something you've never done before, or doing something you've been doing for a very long time and needing the energy and momentum to stay with it. The energy here is that you have completed a chapter. You have learned something huge. You have also in some way created something. Whether it's a trust, whether it's a relationship, whether it is a particular job, whether you've created your own area of expertise, your own niche, your own business, your own book, your own project, or your own relationship between certain clients or peers of yours, networking, whatever it is, whether it's yourself, which I am getting alongside whatever this is, it's been reborn, created new. You're being encouraged at this point in time to let it cool off before you touch it. You might notice that, well, following this energy pattern, perhaps you are working on creating something, maybe building a foundation, maybe organizing a bunch of different things, getting all your ducks in a row, so to speak, whether it's something that takes an hour or something that takes years. And now, you might find a little bit of an energetic, let's call it a hiccup, when you go now to maybe take these things to the next step. You've organized everything, now it's time to sit down and move it forward. You have gotten all your ducks in a row. Now it's time to, knock the dominoes over. Okay? But here, You might feel a little bit of well, I'm just really tired and I really want to appreciate the way that it looks and feels when all the dominoes fall. I really, really want to appreciate that feeling. It might be that you spent so much energy, so much time, so much intellectual energy, like spiritual, emotional energy, creating this project, creating this paradigm, creating that suit, whatever it is. And now you are looking at this and your body might be saying, I can move forward. Also, I am tired. You might also be in a place where you're ready to move forward, but you might think that maybe your brain is not fully focusing on it 100%. Not because it can't, not because you don't understand, not because you won't be able to focus, but because you are being shown something right now. And it is simply that this energy needs time to cool. There is an energy coming through as well, reminding you to respond, not to react. And there's also a hint of an energy right now that in some way, pertaining to your career or just energies that take up that same space in some faction, there's a vibe of maybe people around you not making the best decisions. And so for you, trusting in the, let's just say, sword that you have created, so that once it cools, once it sets, then it speaks for itself. It's also your own tool to use. And so this might be something where maybe the boss at your job, maybe they're not in integrity, but for you, it is important for you that you are. But you've got all of these moving parts, all of these moving pieces. You've just got your ducks in a row. You want to move forward. Maybe you want to make sure that you're on the boss's good side. You want to make sure perhaps that you are following the status quo, the company rules, all of these things. But at the same time, you want to make sure that you are fulfilling the expectations that are had of you and simultaneously staying in your integrity and honoring yourself. It might be something where, say, if you are in a customer service job, you might be in some sort of energy where maybe the clients around you, maybe you have a specific type of client or customer that continually comes to you. And perhaps they're not necessarily making decisions that you would make in your highest vibrational expression of self, right? It's not saying that they're bad or they're wrong, but it might be the norm where you work to partake in activities or make decisions that aren't necessarily the healthiest in the long term. So the reason why this energy needs to cool, and we'll pull the cards and I'll get more specific guidance for you. Of course, I'm just reading the energy right now. The reason that this needs to cool is because whatever the energy is here in your career right now, it has been entrusted to you. Also, this energy, it is big. Yes, can be large, but it's meaning like abundant. It is impactful. Not only to you, but to others as well in some way. When you are in your own sovereign energy and you deal with those different customers every single day, well, they come and they experience you and that smile on your face and the adequacy with which you perform your job. When you are in your own energy, when you have written that first or third draft of your book and you let it sit for a little bit and you almost let it marinate in your own mind, you allow it to set, you allow it to cool, well, maybe you come up with a perspective of one of the characters that maybe isn't a main character, but it just adds an extra layer of flavor to the whole story. It's kind of like adding a spice into a meal, just a little bit of one that you didn't remember that you had. So you're encouraged to walk away and then step back. I'm being shown like when you put a little bit of salt in water when it's boiling before you make like pasta or rice or something, and it just adds a little bit of an extra something, or so they say, right? And also the watched pot doesn't boil. So this energy in mind, we'll pull some more specifics here for you, but this forged in fire energy, it is very, very powerful. It is very, very strong. It is also, once it is set, non-movable, non-breakable, very powerful. an enhancement to your life, a tool to use. However, before it is set, while it is still cooling, not only is this sword still malleable, but it also has the ability to harm others in a way that is not its intended purpose. The cooling sword can only harm others because it is still like melted hot, literally face melting, metal melting hot. However, a sword once cooled can be used, sure, as a weapon, but also as a tool, also as an art, also for a million different reasons. It can be used tastefully, reminding you that what it is that you hold in your career right now, or the energy or the position that you have or something, it is to be treated with care and respect and integrity as you know and as you do. And I'm hearing, pertaining to the people that you observe in your career field, whether it's your boss, whether it's your coworkers, whether it's your clients and your customers, whatever it is, I'm hearing the phrase, do as I say, not as I do. So let's move into the cards, because this is a very interesting energy. So taking a look first here at the mini oracle, we're going to see what is the divine guidance for group number 3's career. I pulled a bit more context on the energy for your reading group number 3, so that was definitely intentional. So let's see. There's something here about the context. Context is also why it needs to cool. What is the divine guidance for group number 3's career path? Okay. Last puzzle piece in unconditional love. Okay. Falling reverse under the sacral card, or sacral crystal, this lets me know very strongly that we're on the right track here, of course. You are aware that there is something that is maybe beautiful, maybe sacred, maybe divine, something that's special, that deserves to be treated with respect, that when you look around you, it is not treated with the respect that it deserves. Your career path, however, it has a lot to do with you being that missing link, you being that good example, you being the one that comes in and maybe shakes things up. I'm being shown a meme of Jesus that I saw on Instagram the other day, and it says, some of you are sitting at tables that you were placed there to flip over, right? And it's kind of giving that energy a little bit. So let's see, what is the divine guidance here? Progression, yes. As you progress in your career, okay, there is something that is seemingly non-movable. It is a system, or it is a community, or it is an idea or a rule that is in your career, in the job as itself, in the career field, in the rules of the company, and something like this. However, while it is true that there's space for you to grow within this system, you're also aware that that is too small for you, but you're also called to be where you are. Going back to that, you might be trying to sit at a table that you're there to flip over, okay? This is not to say that you're in the wrong place. It is to say that your path is larger than what it looks like when you look around. When you look around and you see the examples around you, you might go, well, that's kind of, sort of not really what I'm going for at all. But you're called to walk this segment of your path to get to where you're going. Perhaps to show others that these certain different paths can connect. They can intertwine. Because it is not what is going on right now. Because while it is true that you can progress in your career, with your path specifically, the divine wants you to know that you are here to progress the industry, to progress the company, to raise the vibration of whatever it is. I remember an old retail job that I used to work, and we used to have a lot of cleaning to do, and we used to have disposable gloves, these disposable, like, plastic gloves all over the place. People would just wear them all the time. It was kind of nasty and really bad for the environment, and it bothered me. And so I recommended, why don't we do something that's eco-friendly? Why don't we get reusable gloves? We've got washers and dryers on site. Why don't we just, do something that's a little healthier for our bodies and healthier for the environment, and it saves the company money. And they were like, I don't know what we're doing works. Fine. So if it's not broken, don't fix it. And so, someone like kind of whispered this in my ear. They were like, hey, if you put together an entire report about not the environmental impact of this, not the health impact of this on the individuals, which to me should be what they care about, right? But no, make it an impact report about the way that doing that, making that switch benefits the company, right? And I was sitting here thinking, yeah, but don't they care about the environment? Don't they care about the health of themselves and their employees and our friends and our family? Because we had like a little tight-knit community there, like, you know. But they said, no, write a report, crunch the numbers, sit down, bring it to the owner of the franchise. And you're going to sit down with them and the VP and the managers, the district managers, the regional managers, and you're going to present this. And it's going to be about how it saves the company money, space, time, efficiency. Same with the workers. How they're healthier so they can work better. They're not being around so many chemicals all the time, and so their brains are working better. They're healthier. They're taking perhaps 1/13 less of a sick day per year, right? Little things like that. But they said, if you can compile all of these things and bring them, then we will consider this. And they ended up doing it, and they ended up creating an option for the people who wished to do that, which I thought was cool. But the point here is that there's something here about considering how what is right can create a movement in the industry by looking at it through that lens, but not removing your integrity, right? It is this, okay, well, we are sword welders, I guess, okay? However, that sword, when it's still hot, it can hurt anyone who goes to touch it. Also, a sword, when it's cooled, can also hurt people too. What if we also talk about how swords can be an art form? What if we also talk about how swords have beautiful history behind them, and they can be personalized, and that they're so much more than just a weapon? People might be interested in them beyond just weaponry, and also there is such a beautiful history there that gets almost discarded and discredited if it's only seen in that one particular way. So while it might be better for the integrity, and it's better for art, and it's better for the community to not associate something sharp with a weapon, right? For the company, for the industry, for the position that you hold in some way, looking at, so how is that good for the company? How does that help them make more swords? How does that help them have a more conscious, literally, perspective of their own situation and the way that they present it out into the world? And you know what happened with the eco-friendly reusable gloves situation at my old job, group number 3? They said, actually, wow, you were great at putting together that report. Can you do that for this and that and this other thing and that other thing and this other thing? And it ended up kind of creating an environment where they realized that there was so much room to grow in the industry. There were so many things that they were utilizing that were not they weren't the most effective, they weren't the most cost effective, they weren't the most eco-friendly, they weren't the healthiest, and there was a better solution if somebody put that time, the energy, the consciousness into it. However, it needed time to set. And that's what it was, because someone said, okay, here are the chemicals that I can get at the store. Here's what I can get across the street. I need a quick fix. Let's do it. It didn't have time to set. It wasn't seen as an art form. It wasn't seen as a consciousness. It wasn't seen as something forged in fire, which is a sacred process. It's almost ritualistic if you choose to see it in this way. And so your guidance for your career here, for your path, it is to observe the fact that you have some sort of puzzle piece, missing link, something that is beautiful, divine, sacred. You remember what has been lost or what has been forgotten or what the whole point was of whatever it was. What was the whole point in the beginning? Why does this even exist in the first place? This career that you're in? And how has it been in some way, shape, or form disrespected by the very people who should be respecting and honoring it? How is it? This is kind of giving, okay, when you start a business and they say, what is a problem that you are here to fix? Kind of like this. Because whatever this industry is, whatever this company is, whatever this job is, there's space for you to grow here, but you also know that if you grow personally, you might outgrow this. Essentially, you're being called to bring this up with you while you grow. If you can. If you so choose. It will also put you into a position in your career that you cannot get to by doing one or the other. You cannot get to simply by playing by the rules or playing by the status quo. And you also cannot get to simply by your own personal growth without taking this with you. Now, there are good, beautiful paths in both directions for you. However, there's a reason why this and why you. So first, let it set. Let it cool. So let's get into the tarot and let's pull more divine guidance for you, for your career path. Divine guidance for group number 3's career path. What is the divine guidance here? Okay, 9 of Cups, Judgment with the High Priestess. You already know what your, let's say, divine position is that you are meant to hold here. You already know, let's call it the job title. Okay, the divine job title that is meant for you here. And you also are aware of the fact that there is something old that has been coming up in your life, probably as a very, very, very tiny theme. It's not showing up on the forefront, but it's kind of almost a little whisper. That might seem almost irrelevant. Now, Spirit's drawing awareness to this for some reason, because it looks like your why, your reason that you ended up in the position that you're in today, might have other people's stories kind of mixed in there as well. So while there might have been many moving pieces that made it make sense why you are where you are today, Spirit urges you to really reconsider your initial why, your strongest why, your purest reason why. Now, you might find other things that after you held that why, maybe gave you an extra nudge. And there might be, I'm hearing, an industry standard that in some way, shape, or form connects with this disrespect of something sacred, or the lack of integrity in something that cannot afford to be that way, or something that just simply got distorted in the way that things in the human world often do. But your original why, it is so much more out of love for self and community. And I'm also hearing capability than what it is that maybe is the industry standard. And so it might be the nudge. Like, you've got your purest form of why, but then maybe there were a few nudges. And when you sit down at that, let's say, cafeteria table at lunch with all of your other coworkers and peers, or at the one-on-one with your boss, or you're sitting with your clients, there's one that's more relatable. And it's not your true why. However, it's not on the list. And so this is being shown to you right now to remind you that that wasn't why you ended up in this position in the first place. But you can understand others for that reason. And that is a powerful place to be in. To be able to understand and empathize with others from their own perspective, but also be able to see outside of it. It's like if you see someone walking through something that you've already been through. However, you understand their perspective of it, right? Because we can walk through two different things and have the same takeaway, and we can have two different takeaways from walking through the same thing, right? This is something where the cause and the effect were the same, and you saw it. You lived it, you understand it, you relate with it. However, just because there's a common narrative here doesn't mean that that is the tree with the deepest roots. You are the tree with the deepest roots. So let's see divine guidance for you. You are being encouraged. Look at all of these 2s here, by the way. You're being encouraged to flip. Okay. To flip an industry, flip a job, flip a community on its head. Your divine guidance is to remember that you're sitting at a table that you were called there so that you could flip. And once upon a time you knew that. And that doesn't mean that you don't love or cherish the people that are there. It doesn't mean that you don't love or cherish or respect the career that you've chosen, the industry that you're in, the people around you. Rather, it's the opposite. You know that everything and everyone in that energy, in that career, in that space do deserve better. And that you see where they're coming from, but you see outside of it. You see that a sword can be marketed as, and this is the good for the company perspective, so much more than just a weapon. Because you understand, you ended up there because maybe you love the art. You love the art of swords. Maybe you love martial arts. Maybe you love sword dancing. Maybe you love to weld. There's so much more to what is here than what something has become. And you aren't the only one who knows this, but you're the only one who is in the knowing actively, consciously of this. And so your guidance here, it is to trust that things are the way that they are for a divinely guided reason, of course. And also, there's this message, okay, group number 3, that you are not going to fit into a mold that everyone else strives to get into. For example, you might be passed up for that promotion because the promotion goes to the person who is the best pet. The promotion goes to the person who indulges the disrespect the most. The promotion goes to the person who sees what is wrong and chooses not to do anything about it, or chooses not to look at whether or not there's anything wrong, isn't doing the work, isn't in integrity. So, the position that equates to that is not meant to be yours. And the divine wants to come through to say that there is an exalted position here that is for you. Your path is to flip this table. It is not to play along by the rules of a game that are distorted. And it is not to compete with the people around you for a particular position because you're not there for the same reason and you're not ending up in the same place. So the people that compete with you, or if you're competing with other people, there is no competition there because it's apples to oranges. And so you're being encouraged to focus on the art form of your sword. Okay, I guess we're just really running with this analogy. Because that is going to be how you perfect creating a new industry or renewing the industry. So you're being encouraged to take your time. You're being encouraged to let it set because the answer is within you. Your next steps, you know what to do. We're going back to the beginning here where we spoke about a lot of things that are organized, a lot of moving pieces. However, you're also aware that the steps for you are not the steps that you see when you look around. It's not climb the ladder by doing all of the things right that all the people who climbed the ladder before you did in order to get there. You're aware that you're meant to be in your position. You're also meant to be aware that you are growing outside of this. You are outgrowing this in general. And I think this is something that you also know. Maybe needed a little reminder with the 8 of Cups here in movement. This is something that you are meant to outgrow and look back and give a hand up to. This is not something that you look up at while you're on your knees and you say, I am not worthy, or you are bigger than me, or you are better than me. Please allow me the opportunity to grow into something that is not by definition grown. because that is not why you ended up in that position in the first place. You are being encouraged to focus on yourself, focus on your own liberation. And as your own liberation in that sense, you want to wear healthier gloves. You want swords that are available that you can utilize for an art. Just as an example, okay? Focus on your freedom, your liberation, and the way that that makes you feel, and trust that just in the same way that you can see others, others can see you too. However, you are being encouraged to, yes, let it set, let it cool, because the most obvious next step for you, well, let's just say the most obvious next step for everyone in general, it is not your next step. And that is why the divine wants to remind you this. That is why the divine wants you to let it cool. Take a step back, take a look at it, because many might be excited to grab a brand new sword. It's so new that it's still hot. And they hurt themselves and they hurt others in the process. And besides, they only see it as a weapon anyway. So I guess the ends justify the means, right? That is not why you're in this position, Group 3. That is not why you're doing what you're doing. That's not why you're in the industry that you're in. That's not why you're in the job that you're in. But that doesn't mean that you can't relate to that experience. It does, however, mean that you might take your time making your swords because you've got a different image, a different idea for them in mind. And you also know by now that it needs to cool, it needs to set. And so your intuition is telling you, it has been showing you. You know what your why is. You know the reason that you are there. You know the reason that you stepped into it was because you were needed in the industry, whatever it is, in that job, around those people. They needed you. You didn't need them. And again, it's not because one is better or worse or anything like this. Rather, it is because everything deserves respect. And so the respectful one is put in a place where it has been forgotten. Everyone deserves love. So the giver of love is placed in an area where the love has been forgotten. You are a light. And so you're put around shadows. And the shadows might say there's no such thing as real light. Or they might say, this shadow, this is light in and of itself. But when you walk through, that doesn't change the reality. It doesn't. And you know this as well. So your divine guidance, it is to sit back, let it set, let it kind of cool and marinate in your mind a little bit without thinking about it. Because when we think about stuff, we dissect it, right? You don't want to chop up what is here. You want to see it from the outside. So you want to detach from it so you can see it externally, just like you do already for whatever this is. What is thought to be the most obvious next steps in general, they're not your next steps. Because you are reminding a collective, a community, an industry, a geographical location, a small or large group of people, places, things, whatever it is, you're reminding them why their soul placed them there in the first place, or what next steps there can be, what next steps might actually be the most obvious if they're not playing parrot. And in doing so, in focusing on your own self-liberation, you not only receive more, yes, you do bypass a particular position, because it's not a crown that you want to wear. When you're in the rat race, it might look like it, right? But you see it truly for what it is. It's a dunce cap. It's not a crown. And besides, crowns don't mean much to you anyway. You're just here to love. And because of this, you will notice that you don't end up with a dunce cap, but you do end up with the corner office, and maybe people in your industry don't end up in a corner office. You might find that you end up on the board. And most people with your current job title, they don't have a direct path from where they are. They can't climb the ladder in that direction. The most obvious next step isn't what they think it is. But it is because of your intention and because of your integrity. It is because you seek not the accolades. You weld swords because you love swords. And that is what allows you to see them as an art. You help, save the company money on gloves because you love health and the environment, and that's different. However, that's also a new lens that they hadn't thought to look through before. And because of that, you do create something new. But in doing so, you also set fire to a house of cards that simply would have just taken one little gust of wind to knock down. And that is why you're being called to let it set, let it cool. Because what you do could, would, and will set fire to a house of cards. But that action is not necessary by you. You will step away. You will focus on your peace, on your love. Remember that little moment, those little moments that we spoke about right in the beginning. And when you come back from that moment, you will find that the gust of wind is already blown. The house of cards, it's already knocked over. Therefore, the fire that you set in integrity, with love, with genuinity, through intention, it is not misconstrued as being destructive. It is seen for what it is, and that is divine. It is a tool of an artist who makes swords. And the one who doesn't see a sword as an art, the one who sees it already as a destructive weapon by definition, by nature, they're prone to seeing a fire in the same way. And that is why it serves you and your community, for you to take those moments. Because the house of cards is already fallen. And you don't need to be the one to show it to people or prove it to people or be the one to instigate the fire for that reason. However, you are here to forge in fire because you've been forged in fire. You see the beauty in forging things through fire. You also know how to navigate it in integrity, safely, with love, artistically, beautifully. That's simply part of the process. It cannot be misconstrued and it cannot be slandered because you are simply adding love where love had been forgotten. You are simply adding integrity where integrity had been forgotten. So circling back around to your why is part of your divine guidance here. And you will also find as well that, let's just say, the table that you were there to flip, it was going to break in half anyway. You flipping it will actually save the table a little bit. But others aren't ready for that conversation yet. Group number 3. That is your divine guidance for your career path. I hope this helps shed love, light, and clarity for you. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, week, month, year, and incarnation in this beautiful magical realm. If you would like a more descriptive and personalized reading, I am offering one-on-ones. You can find them below in the description box on Etsy at Spiritualistik or at spiritualistik.com. You can find there my blog, you can meditate with me, you can see all of the things that I've got going on, well, some of the things that I've got going on, and you can also find my entire online store there. I've got an entire spiritual store. We've got crystals, candles, tarot and oracle decks, journals, prompted and unprompted, a lot of things to assist you on your spiritual journey, and of course some spiritualistic merch, because that is always beautiful too. If you are interested in more exclusive content, I have an Inner Circle channel here on YouTube. I've got a Patreon where I post every Thursday. You can also follow me on TikTok. I've got a subscriber platform on my TikTok page as well that you can subscribe to. And with all of that well-rounded, you have 3 different avenues of exclusive content that are not like the others at all. So, as they say, your vibe attracts your tribe, for lack of a better term. So if you are called to any of those, feel free to check it out and say hi. I'd love to have you. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. It helps me reach my dreams and go where I am trying to go. And it also helps other people find the messages that are meant for them. It's just a nice little way to give a hug, to me and the rest of this community. So I love you. I'm grateful for you. Feel free to check out another pile or another reading, and I'll see you next time. Namaste.